So James Harden's had a couple of interesting days. Let's get on right into it. G'day, and welcome back to another one of these. My name is Jackson, and today, yes, I am talking about this whole James Harden fiasco, meltdown crap that's going on. And I'm going to come out straight and say it. I think that the way James Harden is handling what is going on right now in Houston is pathetic. It's just, I just don't understand how a grown adult who has been given so much can just turn around and spit in the face of an organization that, whilst they might not have had much success, they've tried. They've gone about doing everything that you would want an organization to do. And I just think that what he's doing now it's disgusting. It just shows a lack of respect, and it really is highlighting the big flaws in James Harden, the person, which also affects James Harden, the player. Now, I know that I'm going to probably get a fair bit of backlash for this, but it's just, this team has done so much more for just James Harden than most other teams have done for attempting to build dynasties for proven players. I mean, this team went about every single season. They're trying something. They're trying to bring in talent. I mean, yes, they brought in Dwight Howard, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea, but at the time he was a proven big man who may not have had the right game, but they were trying things. They were doing whatever they could for James Harden. They saw what James Harden was in OKC and gave him everything that they could because they knew just how special of a talent he is. And then you go through it all. I mean, they've basically built this system of the small ball, just shoot threes, ISO, give the ball to James Harden and everyone stand around for him. I mean, he's got historic records that probably won't be broken for at least a long time because this organization wanted him to do this type of stuff. And to just go about it that, the situation's a little shitty now, so I'm going to pack it up and bugger off. No, that's just not how the world should work. That's not how professionalism should work. And yes, I'm so glad that we've gone into an era of player empowerment and that these guys have now a lot more power and freedom within the league. But I think that what's lacking is a lot of respect being shown to a lot of these organizations, individuals, whatever you want to call it. And yes, at the end of the day, this is a business and they're going to do business decisions. I've said before that I think what Danny Ainge did to Isaiah Thomas was disgusting because it was. But I think that is the same situation here where it was just a lack of respect for what has been done from one side. Now, the big things that have really happened, for those of you who don't really know, is that training camp started, right? Houston Rockets have started training camp. And actually every team has started training camp, but we're talking about the Rockets here, so let's focus in on them. They started training camp, and James Harden was nowhere to be found. This team has a couple of new players. I mean, you got Boogie, you've got John Wall as sort of the marquee ones, you got Christian Wood. This squad that they've built isn't bad. I mean, the John Wall signing has a bit of red flags just because of the injury concern. Same thing with Boogie Cousins, but they've still got the relatively the same structure. They're most likely going to be moving it around because they probably won't be going into that small ball mentality as much as they did last season and the seasons prior. But you still got to be there regardless of how much you don't want to. I mean, everyone in life is going to have situations that aren't 100% perfect to them. But you still grit your teeth and you get through it. Just because you're a professional athlete doesn't mean that you shouldn't be going through, I wouldn't even call this a hardship because I still think the team isn't bad. You got a new coach who I think might be able to be a little bit more versatile in sort of defensive structures at least. But it does disappoint me as a fan of these players and a fan of just professionalism in sports. I'm all for being a good sport. I'm all for sort of being a respectful individual to those around you. And I love it as much as the next guy when people's trash talk, and it's all about that too, because that is part of the game. But I think that there should be a base of respect that is shown throughout the league, from the organizations to the players, from the players to the organizations, from coaching to fans to referees to the media. Like, there should be a base level of respect, and I just don't think it's being shown here. I mean, you can see it in these quotes. I mean, Stephen Silas has been asked straight up about this absence, and his responses are always like, you're going to have to ask him, or you're going to have to say there is no timetable. It is a setback. I mean, this one right here, he gets asked by a reporter by the name of Jonathan Fegan. I probably pronounced that completely wrong. And he said, because he asked him a question about the absence, and Stephen Silas says, there is no timetable. As far as I know, it is a setback. You want your best player to be here. And this all goes towards the biggest red flag with James Harden, and it's that he is the worst leader in the league. He couldn't lead a horse to water that was about to die of dehydration. The bloke probably couldn't even lead himself out of a maze that was just a single straight corridor. This is one of the main reasons why this team has never won. It's not because the one thing that pissed me off the most was that his mum came into it and started saying that all he wants to do is win a title. Prove that, because you're not proving shit. You're going to strip clubs when you should be training. Like, I'm sitting there thinking that this bloke probably watched The Last Dance. He's probably sitting there taking in all of MJ. But the thing that he took the most out of it was Dennis Rodman. Are you kidding me? That doesn't work. Dennis Rodman was an alien. You're not Dennis Rodman. Mainly because your role isn't Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman went out there to jump up in the air and grab rebounds and defend. You're out there with the ball in your hands, trying to manipulate yourself to get around defenses. Oh, it just bugs me. Like, this guy needs to have more leadership qualities if he wants to win. If his mum's sitting there thinking that all he's asking for is a chance for a ring, you've had your chances. You were one game away from going up against one of the weakest finals appearances from that just demoralized Cavs team, and you just couldn't pull it through because CP3 went down. You were one game away. You were up 3-2 against one of the greatest teams ever assembled, if not the greatest team ever assembled, and you couldn't pull it out. You have shown no leadership throughout your entire career, and to have the audacity to come out here and basically play, oh, woe is me because my team isn't perfect and there's all these other great teams. Oh, get off it, mate. You're not going to Brooklyn. You've become the face of Houston. You are beloved in that city. Show the city some respect. Let alone the organization that's tried countless ways to try to feed you. Show those fans that sit there and dish out money for your jersey. Do it for those fans that dish out money to come to the games because you're an inspiration to them. I mean, this sport is more than just dribbling around a court and shooting a ball. What was this whole thing of I'm more than an athlete? Prove it. Do more. And I'm only talking to you, Harden. Do more. If you want to win, prove it. Because everything I've seen is it's almost like you don't give a shit about winning. You want your points. You want to be able to sit there with all your money. And now you just want to jump onto this team with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. It truly shines a light on the fact that you have absolutely no leadership qualities. And this is going to have lasting effects in the league, trust me. Next time that CBA comes around and the negotiations start popping up, these owners or governors, they're going to come down hard. And they're going to say that you can't ask for a trade. And that if you ask for a trade, there should be penalties. Or they'll do something, because these players who sign all this money, these massive contracts, basically when they don't want to be there, will just raise their hand and say, ship me out. And that's not how it should work. There should be some form of responsibility for signing that amount of money. You shouldn't be signing these contracts and then be able to just weasel out of them when things start going the way that you don't want them to. And that's the only thing that I don't like about this era, is that you're allowed to weasel your way out of contracts like that. And I get that it's all about the empowerment and the freedom, but come on, man. Shit like this is just pathetic. And I get that if you're in a team that's in a losing organization for a while and you're trying everything that you can as an individual to win, sure. You should be allowed to be like, mate, get me out of here. I've given everything. But Harden, you haven't given everything. You're not a leader, but you want to be paid like one. You want to play like one. Then act like one. Be a leader. Come to training camp. That's me. I'm done. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.